Let's just move now to our other focus on the show tonight, and that's of course the people's protest we saw today in Kudankulam. And here it was a sea protest, a Jal Satyagraha of a different kind, apparently inspired by the Khandwa impact. We're asking, why is it that people's protests now have to resort to more and more dramatic methods to attract media attention? Let's just look at this report.
From Madhya Pradesh's farmers to Tamil Nadu's fishermen, unusual protests that caught the media's attention and forced the government to respond. When these anti-nuclear protesters went on a 2-day hunger strike, they expected a quick reaction from the state government. When there was none, they decided to take a cue from a more successful protest. Khandwa's imaginative water agitation, which was ignored for 10 days, until these startling visuals became the focus of intense media coverage. In fact, this image, the shriveled, bruised feet of a woman protester, went viral on social networking sites.
Jal Satyagraha, an unusual form of protest, made the Madhya Pradesh government give in to the demands of the farmers in Khandwa district. Here in Harda also farmers sat on 15-day-long Jal Satyagraha, but it was not successful. Now this trend is picking up as Kudankulam becomes the third location where people have now resorted to this unique form of protest.
4,000 people are in the sea on a protest asking the government to not allow the nuclear fuel loading at the Kudankulam nuclear power plant. They don't want this plant. They say the plant is at their backyard and the discharge from the plant will lead to destruction of the livelihood, destruction of fish in the sea.
But the protest against the nuclear plant, which started with a police crackdown that shocked the nation, ended up being a photo op just 4 days later.
Everybody, every clutch of persons now feels I can, and actually he can bring the state of India to a halt.
It is not that, it's not a blackmail. Okay, that the government is deaf to all these things. What is to be done? The media publishes that. Okay, you must understand from that point of view, and not because media is unjustly publishing, making its own propaganda and so on.
So does media coverage make or break a protest? It may seem so in the case of Anna Hazare, the man who inspired comparisons with Mahatma Gandhi and Jayaprakash Narayan when he first sat on a fast. Considered by critics as a media creation, his Satyagraha last year triggered a tsunami of public support. The anti-corruption crusader rode the popularity wave thanks to the blow-by-blow coverage of Team Anna's every soundbite. But when the cameras turned away, the Anna show flopped. Once seen as Anna's ardent supporter, the media became his critic. Clearly, the traditional Satyagraha has given way to this more media-savvy avatar.
So my special debate tonight on people's protest being redefined for television. Joining me on that is someone who seemed to be a master really at this is Arvind Kejriwal, whom I spoke to earlier this evening, and from the Anna movement. Arvind was also of course at Kudankulam. Arvind Kejriwal, the role of the camera. Interestingly, not many associate you with the first big change that you brought about, which you were part of, and that is the RTI movement that was carried out from village to village, far away from television cameras. Contrast that with the Anna movement, which you are known for. What do you think the role of television as a multiplier effect, RTI, which you and your team achieved without television, and then the Anna Hazare movement now, which is much more controversial?
So that is a question that you have to answer, Sonia, that why does camera go at one place and why it does not go at the other place. I was quite surprised yesterday when I went to Kudankulam. It was almost like a filmy scene, straight out of a film set. I went to some villages and the police had actually gone house to house. They had destroyed the television sets, they had destroyed the refrigerators, they ransacked the houses, they took away the money from the almiras, and still no media was covering that. So it is, I really don't know what is the story as far as media is concerned, because some people would ascribe motive. I would not ascribe motive always. It is just it is your own judgment, it is media's own judgment as to what makes a story and what does not make a story. So I really don't know what would make a story for media and what would not make a story, but I was really shaken when I saw all those scenes. And I personally personally feel that if this kind of an oppression is taking place in some part of the country, it should make a story for the media.
I agree with you entirely on the introspection, Arvind. I think that's a key point, the judgment on what makes a story. And sadly, it's often driven by how dramatic the protest is and the impact of what happened in Khandwa. Again, a dignified, calm protest. And then what we saw in Kudakulam today. The worry really, I mean, we know you're a key strategist after the whole Anna movement. You arrived in Kudakulam. Did you suggest this whole one-day protest of rushing into the sea? And the worry that sometimes substance can get trivialized, the whole debate on style versus substance.
I would not, I think that would be trivializing the whole sacrifice of all these people, because it is not about the style, it is also because the issue is very strong. If the issue had not been strong and if it was only style, then the same media would not have supported these issues. The media supported Khandwa, the media supported Asim Trivedi, the media supported many other movements. Media would not have supported if there were no substance. Media can be very brutal in its analysis also. It is only because there was a clear black and white case in most of these places. There was not even a grey area in many of these places. That is the reason that the media highlighted these events.
Well, you know, Arvind Kejriwal, when you say black and white, the issues is not really that simple, because of course we know in Khandwa also the Madhya Pradesh government made the argument that this will mean giving up on power. You talked about the media turning critic, and the Anna Hazare movement first said the media is an out-and-out supporter, and then the media criticism when crowds started dimming. We saw again in Khandwa the question about whether the pictures, the coverage of the pictures meant that any government would have to give in to those protesters. It wasn't so much about their issues, which maybe have been very genuine, it was about the media attention that they got, which led the government to actually give in. Can everyone copy what happened in Khandwa?
It's not about media attention, that's exactly what I said. You see, media would be very brutal if your cause is not genuine. The cause is genuine, you are looking for strategies. So this is one strategy. If Khandwa people followed a strategy and another movement follows that strategy, what's wrong in it? There's nothing wrong in it. And for instance, Gandhiji gave us this tool of Satyagraha. He used to sit on Anshan. Now if Anna also sits on Anshan and Anna sits on Anshan 3 times, 4 times, you will not call it copycat. You will just say that you learnt it from Gandhiji and you are following it. If it's a good strategy, why not do it?
India's #1 news app just got even better. Download NDTV's new app. Fully optimized for retina display. Full screen view. Faster response time. And Sudoku. NDTV's new iPad app. Download now.